From roaring steel monsters beneath the streets of Manhattan to sleek, modern tech marvels, New York City's subway cars have seen decades of evolution. But one car stands out, not just for its innovations, but for its rocky journey through history: the R44. 4 decades, every B-Division subway car, from the R1s to the R42s, followed a simple rule. They were 60 feet long. But by the late 1960s, the Transit Authority and its affiliates had an interesting idea. What if subway cars were longer? 75 feet, in fact, similar to other American rapid transit systems being built at the time, like the Washington Metro and BART. The idea promised increased passenger capacity and fewer cars per train consist. Since 8 75-foot cars equaled the length of 10 60-foot cars, it was even believed that they might be cheaper to operate. But no one was sure if the existing infrastructure could handle these longer cars. So, transit engineers took 2 retired R1 cars, rebuilt and extended them to 75 feet, and ran a series of clearance tests across the system. The verdict? Well, there was good and bad news. The majority of tunnels could accommodate the longer cars. The ones that couldn't would require minor modifications, most commonly, the establishment of no clearance zones. However, some elevated lines, specifically those on the Jamaica, Myrtle Avenue, and Canarsie lines, had areas where 75-foot cars could not pass safely. In 1969, the MTA awarded a base order of 240 cars to the St. Louis Car Company. After exercising the option clause in the contract, the Transit Authority received 300 R44 subway cars for the New York City subway and 52 more for the Staten Island Railway, replacing the nearly 50-year-old ME1 cars that had been in service since 1925. The R44 was born, and it wasn't just long, it was fast. Tested on the Long Island Railroad, the R44 set a world speed record on January 31st, 1972, 87.75 miles per hour. Employees on site swore the train was still accelerating as it reached the end of the 5.9-mile test track. Even with half of its motors disengaged, it still hit 77 miles per hour. This wasn't just a train, it was a statement. The R44's design even inspired the futuristic state-of-the-art car, or SOAC. Like the R44, the SOAC was built by the St. Louis Car Company and was intended to showcase what transit of the future could look like. The R44 officially entered service on April 19, 1972, on the F train at Jamaica 179th Street. The R44s introduced a variety of features that were new to the subway system, including roll signs that could be controlled train line from the cab, door chimes, cozy design elements like wood paneling and bucket seats in warm yellow and orange, full-width cabs for improved operator safety, and automatic train operation in preparation for the 2nd Avenue subway and Queens Boulevard Super Express lines. Even their wallpaper featured faint images of the New York State and city seals. But behind these bold features, the R44s hid some serious problems. By 1984, the P-wire braking system had been removed from the trains and replaced with the more reliable SME system, which had been used in earlier car classes. The P-wire system was a complex electronic and pneumatic braking system that occasionally failed, triggering the train's emergency friction brakes. It had been designed to work with the train's ATO systems, but since automation plans were eventually scrapped, both the P-wire and ATO systems were removed. The 75-foot length of the cars also posed issues. Their wide overhangs on curves made it unsafe to walk between cars. While the end doors were locked, large platform gaps between cars led to 2 tragic incidents in the 1980s, including the death of a blind passenger. In response, the MTA added safety chains between cars. In 1988, 8 R44s were outfitted with flip-dot route and destination signs, a prototype system controlled from the cab. This experiment paved the way for more advanced features in later subway cars. From 1991 to 1993, the R44s underwent the General Overhaul Program, or GOH. This citywide program aimed to give all subway cars over 10 years old a major refurbishment after years of neglect during the 1970s and 80s due to budget constraints. Half of the R44s were overhauled off-property by Morrison Knudsen, while the other half were refurbished in-house at the 207th Street and Coney Island shops. Each train was deep cleaned, restored to near original mechanical condition, repainted, and fitted with new LCD destination panels on the sides of the cars. These panels replaced the old roll signs and could also be controlled train line from the cab using the Illuminator control panel. The NYC subway cars, originally numbered 100 to 399, were renumbered 5201 through 5481. Meanwhile, the Staten Island Railway cars kept their original numbers. By the late 2000s, the new R160s began arriving. These modern cars were slated to replace the aging R32, R38, R40, and R42 fleets. Retirements for these cars began in 2007. Around the same time, inspections of the R44 fleet uncovered major structural integrity issues. The MTA was forced to pull them from service and paused the retirement of some R32 and R42 cars to serve as temporary replacements. Originally, the R44s were not scheduled to be replaced until 2014 with the arrival of the R179s. The last R44 on the mainland ran on September 16, 2010 on the A train. Car number 5240 has been preserved and is on display at the New York Transit Museum. Remember how the R44s were originally supposed to be replaced by the R179s? Those plans were scrapped, leaving them in service for over 10 additional years, until now, with the R211S order. Since Staten Island wasn't getting R179s, the R44s there received a minor overhaul. This refresh included a new paint job, blue seat replacements, and restoration of motors and underbody equipment. The R211S will replace all Staten Island R44s, delivering the borough its first new technology trains and its first new passenger car order in over 50 years. All R44 cars are expected to be retired by the end of 2026.
This is the St. George bound local train.
As the last of the R44s prepare to roll into history, we remember them not just for their speed or style, but for the bold leap they represented. A step into the future, even if it was a bit too soon. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, consider supporting the channel by liking the video and subscribing.